Hello everyone, welcome to your first Adobe Illustrator CS5 tutorial. Now the reason I haven't opened Illustrator up yet is because you need to see what 64 or the CS6 version looks like when you open it up. All the new Adobe CS6 programs look amazing when they open up. They have great art and everything. In this case, it's like kind of like folded up paper or something. I'm using the 64-bit, by the way, just because I have a 64-bit computer, but you can use whatever version you want. And I believe the only difference between CS6 and most of the other versions is you can do more vector and ray tracing and stuff, which is one of the things that you can do in almost all new Adobe products, and the interface is way different. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if we want to make a new file, just go to File, New, obviously. And there's some stuff I want to go through here. There's different presets, and it's easiest just to do print, and then I always change mine either to pixels or inches. We'll just do inches in this case. And you can see here, we can do letter size, and that will automatically give us a piece of paper size. You can also go into the advanced options, which bleed is also kind of advanced, and you can choose if you want to do CMYK or RGB, stuff like that. We'll just call this tutorial. Alright, and then we'll just click OK. And now we have a nice blank page here. So there's two things we want to go over here. If you things like this, I prefer to use mine as this because it's easier, but this is your selection tool to select basically the main things. The direct selection tool is to select the sub things inside the main things. You'll see what I'm talking about later. And also we have the hand tool, which is right here. Shortcut is H, and for this it's V and this is A. So it's easier though if you just hold down the space bar. You can see a little hand comes up, and if you want to drag around, you just hold down the space bar and then click and drag, and there you go. And then to zoom in, you just use Control plus. You can also select the zoom tool and just drag a selection. It will zoom in there. Alright, so let's go ahead and make something. And Control 0 will take you to like a full page view, perfectly centered and stuff. So let's just go ahead and make a shape. Shapes are here. If you Control click, you have all these. We'll just make a polygon. There we go. We've made our first shape in Illustrator. And if we go ahead and click and drag the polygon, but don't let go, if we use the up and down arrow keys, we can adjust the amount of vertices it gives us, which is great. And not only that, it works for the star tool as well. And we can make a superstar. And yeah. So yeah. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over stroke and fill. Now what stroke and fill are basically the, I'm going to actually go ahead and zoom in here. Stroke and fill are basically the outlines and inside fill of something. Well, so there's something I really want to show you that's the biggest thing about Illustrator. This is why you use Illustrator rather than any other program. Everyone knows what a pixel is, right? It's the tiny little thing on your computer. Well, when Illustrator draws, there's no such thing as a pixel. We're going to zoom in here, keep zooming in. We just zoomed in as far as we can, and there is absolutely no pixels. That is the amazing thing about Illustrator. It does not work with pixels, and that's why it is so accurate. So, yeah. Sorry. Alright, so now what we're going to do, like I said, is fill. So right here, this thick one here is the fill, and this is the stroke. And I'm going to go ahead and pop this out here. And CS6 has actually changed their colors. But if we double click this, this is the thing I prefer to work with just because After Effects uses it. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to select like our 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, we're going to select our hexagon, and we're going to double click on the fill, and we'll just select the color. And the great thing about this is it's very intuitive, so just do a nasty turquoise color or cyan. And if we zoom in here, if we change the stroke color, we can see here it turns to that. Obviously this isn't ugly, but And then if we go over here to stroke, by the way, if you don't have certain windows that I go into that aren't open, just go to window and all of your panels are right here. If you click on one, then it just pops out and you can go ahead and dock it in. So yeah. Alright, so if we go to stroke here, we can adjust the weight of the stroke, and that's just how thick it basically is. And that's, yeah, pretty basic stuff. Alright, so if you don't want to have this and you want it to be the defaults, just click this button here and we'll do that. Alright, and then if you don't want it to have a stroke, you could just click on whatever or fill, you could just click on that and then click on none. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, so now what we're going to do is, what should we go over next? It's not too advanced. The next one we're going to get into some really advanced stuff, and it's going to be a little bit hard to keep up, but it will be worth it. Oops. Alright, so I'm just going to delete these, and I'm going to teach you about grids and stuff. So if we go to view, we can go to show grid, click on that, and we go to view, snap to grid, and now we have a grid here. With snap to grid on, it makes it really easy to make perfect shapes and whatnot, and just be able to use math and stuff to make more accurate shapes. So if we just drag here, you can see it's going to snap to each one of these things. This makes it really easy to use mathematical measurements. If you hold down shift, it's going to make perfect shapes, so like a perfect square. If you go to the ellipse tool, hold down shift, makes a perfect circle, and etc. If you use pretty much anything, it's going to make it perfect, perfectly proportional. That is the height and width. Yeah. So if we want to be able to use our own increments, say we need to make like a 2-inch square, we could just go to view and then rulers, show rulers, and it will show us our measurements in whatever length we selected when we made the file. I also would like to check something really fast. See how the new CS6 is very dark? It can make it somewhat hard to see for some people. I can make it darker. I'm going to make it a little bit brighter for these tutorials, just because it makes it easier to see, especially when you're up close and doing art. With After Effects, it's not a problem because I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be, but with this, it is necessary. So, sorry about that, but we'll zoom in here, and say we delete the stroke, or excuse me, delete the fill. You can see it's transparent now. We can stick stuff in it, and yes, excuse me, this does have arranging things, so you can bring to front and stuff like that. Alright. Now let's go ahead and go over the pen tool really fast. What's funny is apparently this is very complicated and we had to spend 3 days on it in a class I took. Well, really it should only take 5 seconds to learn. Pen tool is basically a pen and you're going to draw your own shapes. So if we just click, 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 and then we close our shape by having the pen tool and this little dot here, which comes up when we're close to the start point, we've just created a shape. By the way, if you want to rotate something, click R, and there's rotate. And you can hold down Shift to do it 45, 180, etc. And if you hold down Control, it will do it more precisely. So yeah. Now, with the pen tool, we can also make, rather than just geometric shapes, we can make organic shapes. So we can just click and drag to make a Bezier curve. And we have snap to grid on, so it's going to snap to certain positions, but it can be a little bit crazy if you don't have snap to grid on. So alright, and then click and drag on the final, and there we go, we've made a shape like that. And so I talked to you actually, let me show you real fast. Without snap to grid on, pen tool, you can make it a lot more random and sporadic. Alright, next thing I want to show you is what this direct selection tool is for. Now, the selection tool is just for selecting shapes in general, but within those shapes, if you ever get a dialog like this, just click back. And that happens with points sometimes. But if you ever want to select the vertices of a shape, which are what make up the shape, we're going to use the direct selection tool. So we'll click on our big random organic shape here, and you can see, if we click the direct selection tool, we have these little points you can see. So if we click on one, it brings up the Bezier curves we previously created. We can move it around individually, move the handles, and we can even shift click to select more than one, and we can click and drag to select, which is great. And that's pretty much what the direct selection tool is for. Okay, there is one more thing I would like to show you, and that is the blend tool right here. And what that does is going to blend colors. I haven't gone over colors a whole lot, so let me just give you a brief, quick overview because they're not really hard to understand. So let's go ahead and color this some color. By the way, if we have a swatches panel over here, these are basically preset colors that we can use. And if you go click this here, go to Open Swatch Library, there's a ton more, including gradients. And gradients, if you're not aware, give a more realistic look to things. So yeah, that's just many possibilities. For these two colors, I'm just going to select green and red since they're complementary colors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the blend tool. I'm going to left click here and then double left click here. As you can see, we've got some weird thing going on. What it's doing is it's taking these two shapes and morphing them together. As you can see, this square is gradually turning into a circle, and this green is gradually turning into that. But it looks very ugly, so let's go ahead and fix it. What we're going to do is we're going to undo, Control Z, use the blend tool again, click on it, then Alt double click on this shape. And then it's going to ask us some options here. We're going to click specified steps, make sure this left orientation aligned to page is selected. We're going to select how many sub-steps we would like it to be between it. So let's just select 3. It's going to make 3 shapes in between it, from morphing from a square to a circle and green to red. And there we go. It's kind of strange looking, but it's just some cool methods you can use to create different art. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that for this tutorial. One more thing though. Involving gradients, I did mention them. Say we want to make a gradient on this. We need to first go to the gradient panel here, okay, and we're gonna select the type of gradient. We can just click on it, but some other things we can do is we can go into these colors here and we can change them. So we can just sample some colors from here. Say green and pink, and then we'll get rid of this center color. We'll just change it to like so we're gonna have like a triple gradient. It's like cotton candy with some green on it. And if we want to change how this is oriented, we just go to this gradient tool here, or G, and you can see here we have the whole thing. We can just drag it in different ways and get different results here. And then we can also go in here and change these sliders to adjust where the colors actually happen. And we can even add sliders by clicking when there's a little plus mark on these white super tiny lines. So that's it for this first tutorial, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and in the next tutorial we're going to start getting into some really advanced stuff that will help you really start kickstarting some art. And yeah, once again, this program is amazing because there are no pixels. That's the #1 reason you should use this above all else. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe for more. Make sure you know when the next ones come out. Check out the playlist with all these in them, and I'll see you guys next time.